Under the enchanting glow of the starlit sky, the Carnival of Venice was in full swing. A sea of luminous lanterns cast a warm, inviting light on the open-air celebration, revealing an array of elaborately dressed partygoers, adorned in their exotic and grand costumes. The festive atmosphere was further amplified by the vibrant sounds of music echoing through the air, adding a touch of magic to the already captivating scene. Amidst the lively crowd, a group of musicians played their hearts out, their instruments melding together in a harmonious symphony. In the centre of the group stood a man, his presence commanding attention with every note he played on his glistening trumpet. The melody he created was entrancing, drawing partygoers closer to the stage, their movements synchronized with the rhythm of the music. The celebration was alive with movement as people in opulent Venetian masks twirled and danced around the open space. Their ornate costumes, adorned with intricate patterns and vibrant colours, added to the spectacle of the event. The infectious energy of the music and the mesmerising sight of the dancers created an unforgettable spectacle, one that would be remembered for years to come. As the night progressed, the music only grew more fervent, reaching a crescendo that seemed to encapsulate the very essence of the carnival. The trumpet player's performance, in particular, was a standout, his passion evident in every note he played. The night's celebrations would undoubtedly linger in the minds of all those present, an indelible memory of the magic that had unfolded under the stars. The Carnival of Venice was an experience unlike any other, a feast for the senses that left an undeniable impression on everyone who attended. From the exquisite costumes and masks to the mesmerizing music and dancing, it was a celebration that truly encapsulated the joy and wonder of life. And at the heart of it all was the man with the trumpet, his music serving as the perfect accompaniment to this unforgettable event. In the midst of the joyous revelry, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. What had once been a carefree celebration was now tainted by an unexpected and sinister development. The trumpeter, who had been the life of the party, suddenly pressed the piston of his trumpet with an unusual force. What happened next was shocking. A bullet was fired from his trumpet, piercing the air with a deafening noise. Partygoers froze in terror as one of the guests crumpled to the ground, struck by the unexpected projectile. The joyful music that had filled the air was abruptly silenced, replaced by a chilling quiet. The once vibrant scene was now shrouded in a veil of fear and confusion. Partygoers stared at one another in disbelief, their festive attire and masks clashing with the sudden solemnity of the situation. The sight of the fallen guest sent a ripple of panic through the crowd as people began to realise the gravity of what had just occurred. What had started as an evening of celebration had taken a dark turn, leaving behind a sense of unease and uncertainty. As the reality of the situation sank in, the partygoers scrambled to understand what had just happened and to come to terms with the tragedy that had befallen their gathering. Seizing the opportunity created by the chaos and commotion, the trumpeter stealthily made his escape. As people ran in all directions, their panic providing the perfect cover, the trumpeter managed to slip away unnoticed. The guards, caught off guard by the unexpected incident, were unable to pinpoint the source of the shot in the confusion. As the trumpeter retreated to the safety of the dressing room, he quickly shed his performance attire and reached for a disguise. Hidden within a wardrobe, he discovered the unconscious, naked body of the real trumpeter. Beside the trumpeter lay a bag of maintenance crew clothing, which the imposter swiftly donned. Transformed into a maintenance worker, the trumpeter slipped out of the dressing room unnoticed. The panicked partygoers and distracted guards were too preoccupied to pay any attention to him, allowing him to seamlessly blend into the crowd and escape the scene of the crime. With the diversion created by the panic and confusion, the trumpeter managed to evade capture and disappear into the night. The once joyous carnival had been marred by tragedy, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a sense of unease that would linger long after the final notes of the evening's music had faded away. The false trumpeter, now disguised as a maintenance worker, made his way to the parking lot, determined to make a clean getaway. As he neared the exit, a voice suddenly crackled through his communicator. "Target down, Agent Tier. Job well done. Get out of there. I've wiped your presence from the security cameras." The voice cut off abruptly, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. The silence was a worrying sign, but Agent Tier pressed on, remaining focused on his mission. He stealthily made his way towards the exit, aware of the need to move quickly, but inconspicuously. With the stolen maintenance access card in hand, he quietly opened the door to the parking lot, slipping through it with the ease of a trained professional. The night air was cool, and the faintest hint of smoke hung in the air, a lingering remnant of the chaos that had erupted moments earlier. Agent Tier kept a low profile, sticking to the shadows as he made his way across the parking lot, his mind racing as he anticipated the next steps in his escape. His actions were precise, methodical, and executed with the skill of a seasoned agent. Just as Agent Tier exited the underground parking lot through the service door, a security guard emerged, gun in hand. "We've got you," he said, before firing multiple shots into the back of Agent Tier's head. The agent collapsed to the ground, his mission cut short. The security guard wasted no time in disposing of the body, transporting it to a special location. It was a macabre place, a kind of corpse dump where bodies piled up, waiting to be incinerated in the huge incinerator beneath the warehouse. From a remote location, the corpses were lowered, one by one, descending into the flames and disappearing from sight. In the darkened room, the flames danced and crackled, their heat radiating through the metal grates. As Agent Tier's body entered the incinerator, a small metal bracelet that he wore sparked briefly in the flames before being consumed by the inferno. As the bracelet glowed brightly in the intense flames, a digital display briefly appeared with the word reinitializing before fading away. In an instant, Agent Tier's eyes snapped open and he swiftly sat up, assessing his surroundings with mechanical precision. He was surrounded by a sea of bodies, some of them still recognizable as victims of the sinister organization he had been tasked to infiltrate. With his ocular implants, he quickly captured a series of photographs, adding to the damning evidence he had already collected. As the communicator in his ear came back online, the familiar voice returned. "Agent Tier, I had to disconnect for a while to ensure our tracks remained untraceable. Mission accomplished. With the photos you've just taken, the second phase of your mission is now complete. Capture a few more images of the area and then return." Agent Tier did as he was instructed, documenting the grim scene in meticulous detail. Satisfied that he had collected all the necessary evidence, he quickly made his way back through the service door, exiting the grim incinerator and disappearing into the night, his mission far from over. The morning news, with its usual blend of tragedy and intrigue, played in the background as Agent Tier sat down for his hearty breakfast of pork belly and a tall glass of machine oil. Between mouthfuls of savoury meat, the news anchor droned on. Breaking news. The criminal organisation known as Fight for Beggars has been exposed as a front for a global network of hitmen, and its vice president, Martin Poland, was found dead at his private carnival party. Agent Tier paused for a moment, his eyes flicking to the TV screen with a satisfied smirk. He had played a crucial role in bringing the organisation to its knees, even if his sacrifice had been brief. But he knew this was only the beginning. More work needed to be done to ensure justice was served, and his kind, the robot-human hybrids, were one step closer to the recognition they deserved. The bacon sizzled on his plate, and Agent Tier couldn't help but chuckle at the irony. After all, he had single-handedly taken down a criminal organization by bringing home the bacon. It was a dangerous game he played, but he relished every moment of it. Agent Tier was caught mid-chew when a new call notification flashed in the corner of his vision. He answered, and a familiar voice greeted him. "Agent Tier, you're watching the news, I take it? We've succeeded in exposing Fight for Beggars' crimes, but their leader, Sam Robin, who is not present at the carnival party, remains at large. The authorities claim to be arresting those involved, but the truth is they're cutting deals. We're lucky if even half of the organisation is actually brought to justice, the voice said. Agent Thiers slammed his fist on the table, the glass of oil toppling over and spilling onto his body, only to be absorbed by his robotic frame. He fumed. Typical, the rot runs deep, and those in power are content to let it fester. Well, they won't find peace so long as I have a say in the matter. Sam Robin may be elusive, but I'll root him out if it's the last thing I do. He stood up, gears in his neck whirring, his determination and righteous indignation fueling his every move. The male voice on the other end of the line replied, "Come by the office when you can." "On my way," Thiers replied, hanging up the call. Without delay, he headed straight for Savnet HQ. SavageNet in disguise, an innocuous-looking network company with much more going on behind the scenes. Agent Cameron, his contact within Savnet, waited in his office. As Thiers stepped through the door, he nodded in greeting. "So, fight for beggars, eh?" Cameron quipped. "I see you got the job done despite the powers that be trying to cut corners. But our job's not over yet. Not until we've found Sam Robin." Thiers nodded in agreement, gears whirring in his chest as he said, "You're damn right, it's not over. He's slippery, this one, but we'll track him down, even if I have to comb through every digital footprint in the damn world." Cameron smirked, clearly impressed by Thiers' conviction. "That's the spirit, Thiers." Cameron continued his patrol down the hallways of Savnet, a clever play on the word subnet. Every employee there was a skilled hacker with a deep understanding of electronic and cybernetic structures. Located in the Netherlands, the Savnet office was equipped with top-notch security, designed and implemented by the very hackers who called it home. From intricate security systems to the most advanced anti-intrusion software, Savnet was an impenetrable fortress, a digital safe haven for those whose skills were, more often than not, considered illegal. Thiers followed Cameron through the halls, his footsteps echoing slightly on the steel floors. Although Thiers' mechanical parts and cybernetic upgrades made him stand out, within the walls of Savnet, he was just another cog in the well-oiled machine, playing his role in keeping the world safe, or at least safe from those who would abuse their technological abilities. As Thiers and Cameron walked past Emerald Trounce's office, they heard her on the phone with a concerned father. "Thank you so much. My son barely escaped death, and I hope this incident will lead to his rehabilitation," the man's voice echoed. "Those hitmen from Shellshock were after him because he spent more on drugs than he could afford, and he got mixed up in some very shady business. Now that they've been exposed, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief." Hearing the man's gratitude, Thiers turned to Cameron and commented, "We didn't dismantle this operation to give just this guy peace of mind. Shellshock's impact was much broader." Cameron replied with a shrug, "Well, don't be so hard on yourself, Thiers. Sure, bringing down Shellshock will have a ripple effect, even on the less powerful and smaller niches of society. But isn't that a good thing?" Thiers sighed. Yeah, I suppose it is. But I just don't feel like we've really accomplished much until the head honcho, Sam Robin, is dealt with. We've still got a long way to go." Thiers and Cameron arrived at the conference room, where they were expected. They entered, both men standing tall and confident. Cameron was in his early 40s, with a lean yet strong physique, accentuated by his dark brown hair cut short and neat and his tailored suit. His hands were nonchalantly tucked in his pockets, giving him an air of suave professionalism. Thiers, on the other hand, appeared to be in his early 30s, a robust figure with blonde hair cropped close to his head and piercing blue eyes. His stature was imposing, and he carried himself with a quiet sense of authority. Both men were natural-born leaders in their own right, and their contrasting appearances only added to their collective aura of power and influence. As they stepped into the room, eyes fell upon them. Cameron nodded curtly in greeting, while Thiers favoured a more piercing, appraising stare, assessing those around the table for their reactions to their presence. The conversation immediately turned to the ongoing shell shock case once Thierry and Cameron entered the room. The team discussed the clear progress that had been made, but Thierry's frustration grew. He slammed his fist on the table, causing the papers and objects on the large round conference table to fly into the air. "This war isn't won until their leader is dead," he declared. Those familiar with Thierry's typical displays of anger quickly lifted their devices off the table to avoid any potential consequences. Thierry's passion and determination were as much a part of him as the very cybernetics that made up his being. His intensity often caught others off guard, but his team knew it stemmed from his unwavering dedication to bringing criminals to justice. Cameron, with a calm and composed demeanour, placed a hand on Thierry's shoulder, trying to pacify him. "Easy, Thierry. We're all on the same side here. Let's figure out our next move. Sam Robin won't be easy to take down, but we'll get there." After a thorough examination of the evidence and recordings, the team concluded that they were yet to locate Sam Robin, the elusive leader of the Hitman organization, but expected him to eventually try and regroup. This presented an opportunity to track him down once their group re-emerged. In the meantime, the focus would be on gathering evidence linking Shellshock to Nexus, the shadowy organization believed to be secretly pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Agent Jax, noticing Thierry's growing discontent, attempted to shift the conversation by announcing that one of their colleagues, Carol, was celebrating her birthday today. Jax proposed that the meeting be adjourned for the day, allowing Carol to take the rest of the day off. Carol's face lit up at the suggestion, but Thierry remained unconvinced, his tone laced with sarcasm. "Sure, let's rest up. I'm sure the bad guys won't do anything today because it's Carol's birthday." The rest of the team exchanged knowing glances, aware of Thierry's unrelenting commitment to the mission. Despite their respect for his drive, they also acknowledged that a brief respite could be beneficial for them all. Thierry stormed out of the meeting room, muttering, "I'm dying of thirst," to Cameron, who walked alongside him. In front of them, a wheeled table held various items for investigation. Thierry picked up a vial containing blood and took a sip. One of the nearby scientists called out, "Hey, that's for forensic analysis." Unfazed, Thierry savoured the metallic taste of the blood, analysing it as he swallowed. The coagulation pattern is abnormal, indicates the subject was likely poisoned with a substance that affects coagulation patterns, probably dabigatran. Time of death was around 11 p.m, about 6 days ago, he concluded. The scientist, although annoyed, noted down Thierry's observations and reminded him not to interfere with the evidence in the future. However, Thierry's impressive deduction caught everyone's attention. Even amidst his frustration, his analytical skills and vast knowledge of forensic analysis were a valuable asset to the team. Thierry surrendered the vial, raising his hands above his head. "But I'm still thirsty," he said, making his way to the vending machine. He inserted a coin and selected a cold cup of milk, but the machine seemed to be malfunctioning, taking an unusually long time to process the order. Impatiently, Thierry tapped his shoe against the floor, growing more and more frustrated with each passing second. Unable to contain himself, he slammed his fist against the machine in an attempt to speed up the process. However, his cybernetic strength proved too much, and he ended up breaking the machine, causing a torrent of beverages to spill out onto the floor. The nearby scientists and agents stared, their mouths agape at the sudden burst of destruction. Thierry, realizing what he had done, sheepishly rubbed the back of his neck. "Oops, my bad. I guess I got a little carried away." Despite his blunder, a few chuckles could be heard around the room. Even in the midst of chaos, Thierry's impulsiveness managed to bring a bit of levity to the situation. Thierry quickly knelt down to mop up the spilled liquid, grabbing a nearby lab coat to soak up the mess. Unbeknownst to him, the lab coat belonged to one of the scientists. As he knelt down, he inadvertently tripped up an agent carrying a large cake for Carol's birthday celebration. The agent, caught off guard by Thierry's sudden movements, stumbled and the cake went flying through the air. However, Thierry's quick reflexes saved the day, as he caught the cake in the nick of time. With a triumphant cry, he shouted, "I've got the cake!" However, his enthusiasm led to a bit of chaos, as he inadvertently shoved aside other agents in his excitement. Before he knew it, several of his colleagues were on the floor, knocked over by his unexpected strength. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to Thiers and the now slightly squished cake in his hands. A few moments of stunned silence passed before the room erupted in laughter. Even Carol, whose celebration had been momentarily interrupted, couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of the situation. The laughter abruptly ceased when the vending machine, already damaged by Thiers' previous outburst, started to collapse in on itself. It toppled over, crushing one of the agents beneath it. Horrified, Thiers sprinted over to lift the machine off the agent, but his immense strength caused him to inadvertently flip the machine to the other side of the hallway, knocking over more agents in the process. Amidst the chaos, the milk bottle that had been stuck in the machine earlier was now free. Thiers, oblivious to the disapproving looks from his colleagues, triumphantly chugged the bottle of milk in one go. As medical personnel rushed in to tend to the injured agents, Thiers, realizing his missteps, raised the now empty milk bottle in the air and offered a sheepish grin. "A toast to Carol's birthday?" he asked, his attempt at a jovial celebration falling flat amidst the wreckage.